Hey, what's going on? How are you? I hope you're fine. It's Sunday evening. We're going to look at more magazines. Sunday evening mags. Let's take a look and see what we have. This is another stack. Came out of exactly another one of those boxes that we've already looked at. You've seen what they are. It's a large file box that I put magazines in. I have about 6 or 8 of them. And we've been pulling them out and looking at them. Most of them are filled with unbagged magazines. This first one we're looking at is Deadly Hands of Kung Fu #5. No man can stand against the deadly hands of Kung Fu #5, 75 cents. Shang-Chi, the mightiest martial arts master of all time. Look, he's throwing those shuriken stars. Oh no, he's not. They're coming at him. He's not throwing those stars. He's deflecting them with his metal Dr. Diablo wristlets or something. Those look like something that you might be able to order from the back of the magazine, perhaps. Features, photos, and steel smashing action strips. We get this cat on the back again. We've seen him a lot throughout the years. Here's a little thing, Introduction to Ancient Oriental Weaponry. These are great. I don't know if you've ever read the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu in magazine form, but this is it. This particular issue, this is #5. I'm going to point this out. This is going to happen a lot throughout this stack. This is what makes the videos go slow, is when I open them up and I see the magazines and I'm reminded again of what's in the magazine. So this particular issue has a very good article about Japanese samurai movies. It has a review of the movie Lightning Swords of Death, and it's by Chris Claremont. You might recognize his name. Well, Chris Claremont was a samurai and kung fu fan. He writes a review in here of this movie, which happens to be one of the movies that was chopped up and made into Shogun Assassin. It's about Ogami Ito and Daigoro. See it right there. Ogami Ito. Once he had been the shogun's executioner, now he wanders the length and breadth of Japan with his son Daigoro, seeking his destiny. So when you're reading this, you're reading this from Chris Claremont's viewpoint, and he's like an aficionado of this stuff in 1974 when this came out. Is that when this is? It's October of '74. And he's like trying to educate you. He's like trying to tell you, listen, you guys, if you live in New York City or San Francisco, it's time to start changing the channel over to that Japanese language channel and watching these samurai shows, watching these movies. It's time to start, going to this stuff because it's really good. And this was kind of the beginning of the interest of all of this for me. You can see, look at how beautiful and how long this article is going to be. It's got a bunch of photos. This is the whispering of the wind. Okay, let's go. Let's see. We're going to move Kong a little bit up here so we can kind of start a secondary stack to the side. We'll go like this, about like that, right? Is that pretty good? This issue of Deadly Hands has got a really nice illustrated cover of the likeness of Bruce Lee. This is #14. This is a beat up issue. The special Bruce Lee issue, The Dragon Still Lives. Isn't that nice? Who did this? Is that Neil Adams? It is. This is Neil Adams. Neil Adams did a number of covers for Deadly Hands. That last cover, I think, is Bob Larkin, the one with the shurikens. There we go. Neil Adams cover, July of '75. This is really a beat copy. It's got a big article in here about Bruce Lee. Wow, I love that photo. Look at that. Look at that. This might have been This is not the coolest way that Bruce ever looked, because he really looked coolest in the yellow tracksuit with the black stripes, I think. But this is pretty good. He looks like he was in a Star Trek episode in that picture. Isn't that great? Here's another Deadly Hands. This is another, who's this? Another Bob Larkin cover. It's a great cover. This is number 9. This is in really good shape, this issue. Odor Eaters advertisement. It looks like an ad for Dr. Scholl's, doesn't it? Footloose, footloose. Everybody cut footloose. Oh, it's 1975. It is the Kung Fu craze, everybody. It really is the Kung Fu craze at this point. And even though everybody is already liking this Kung Fu stuff, it really, it's the death of Bruce Lee that begins everything. It's Enter the Dragon. I don't think even Enter the Dragon really came out and became famous until after Bruce had already died. This is interesting. This is cool about Kumite basic sparring. This looks like just basic Kempo karate. Looks cool. Looks good. This ape advertisement. So this stuff would be in here all the time. At the same time as this genre of magazine is popular, also Kung Fu magazines and martial art magazines are becoming popular as well. And those magazines are filled with this type of thing, as well as articles about the movies, and as well as lots of ads. But the ads in the back of the Kung Fu magazines are for you to buy weapons and gis and ninja climbing spikes and throwing stars, and it's just that the articles look like this article. A bunch of lore about tournaments and about instructors, and it's a whole other side. And I still have a lot of those magazines, but I feel like I gave most of them. The ones that I did have, I gave to my son, who was really more. Look at this, is really nice. Iron Fist. Anyway, my son got even more into martial arts, I think, than I did. Perhaps, I'm not sure. I don't think he did any competition. I competed a little bit, but he definitely, I think, went farther. His fighting skill, but he's bigger than me. So it's hard to say, but he really didn't do a lot of. Well, I mean, he did kung fu, but their kicking is so much different. His stuff, the stuff that he learned, is so much different than the stuff that I learned. There's the differences between the styles would blow your mind. Creepy. This is an issue of Creepy. It's number 31. It's an older issue, and it's got a Von Bode cover, which is unusual, right? It's a little bit beat up, but it sure is nice. It's nice to see old Creepy when it's this old. I like the way that the numbers look. Well, I mean, that looks the same. I like how this all looks. I like this thing right here. Creepy's loathsome lore. I like how this contents page used to look. All of it's really nice. This was just a neat magazine. This is before it went square bound. See? Or at least this issue's not square bound. Isn't that nice? Kind of the magazine at this stage was less European? Is this before the Spanish artists came along? I think it is. I don't know the lore that well. But you can see there's not that many back issues at this point. The pictures of the back issues are much bigger and easier to look at than they were in my time. This is an issue of The Spirit. This is Spirit number 8. This was great. This was something really cool that Warren did, and this is the beginning of me discovering The Spirit. This is how I first read The Spirit, and and then later on when Kitchen Sink Press took over it. And what a beautiful, look at how great this cover is. Look at that. If you haven't read Will Eisner's The Spirit, it's time for you to do that. I don't like it that everybody knows so much about who he is now that they named that award after his name and everything. It was cooler when not that many people knew about this, and that it was more underground. It always looked underground to me. When I first saw the Spirit, when I first read these, I didn't realize at first because I was young. So I'm like 12 or 13, and I didn't realize at first that this was all old stuff. And I thought that this was like a, sort of an underground thing. I know that sounds crazy, but that's just what I thought when I was a kid. I thought that this was like some sort of an underground, kind of edgy thing that was making it look like it was old. But then I looked closer and I started learning and started reading and then realizing what it was, that it was reprints. And at first I didn't quite understand. I was like, what could be the draw? What could be about this that it would be, what could be so good about it that they would make an entire book that's just reprints of this old stuff? You know, and as I read it, spent more time reading it, it's completely enveloped and drawn into every panel. You can just see how good Will Eisner was. Well, the stories are also good. It's filled with action and humor, adventure, romance. It's a crime comic. It's a crime adventure comic. It's beautifully drawn by the master, maybe, of comic illustration, Will Eisner. Look at this. Here's a full-page color ad for Young Frankenstein. See how it's just page after page of goodness in here. Here's the color insert. It's great. This is an all-girl issue, so every story in here is about a different girl villain that the Spirit has. And some of his biggest art, actually not some of, other than maybe the octopus, I think, his biggest arches are chicks. His biggest arch is this sans serif girl. She's kind of the biggest, his biggest villain. But there's all these other ones too, man. And these chicks are hot. And in the back, you still get all this stuff. And anyway, it's very poetic, and it's funny. And yeah, it was better. For some reason, I liked it more when nobody else liked it, just like a lot of things. You know, I like things better before anybody else likes them. And then when other people like them, then it's not as cool anymore. This is a issue of Savage Tales with Khazar, Lord of the Hidden Jungle. It's number 9, and it's in like new condition. Some of these books, when I purchased them, I read them once or twice, and then they just got filed away. This is from March of 1975. It's never been in a bag. It's always been in a stack of magazines, just like this. None of this stuff has really suffered from not being boarded and bagged, as you can see. This book looks like it came right off the stands from 1975, which is a long time ago, and maybe almost 50 years ago. If you like, if you have good taste, you're going to like this comic. I'm just going to go as far as that. I'm just going to say, if you have good taste, if you like cool things and you're a cool person, then you're going to like Strange Tales with Khazar. No, it's not Strange Tales, I'm sorry. It's Savage Tales. So you're going to like Savage Tales with Khazar. And this guy's back here again. The Savage Comb Over. He has so much great hair. This is just going to be good. That's all I can say about this is it's just going to be a fun, enjoyable read. They don't make stuff like that anymore. Let's look at People magazine. We have plenty of time in this video. This is a really heavy, particularly thick issue of People. I'm not sure why it is. It's nothing special. I think this was, look, it's People Weekly. This is a weekly magazine. So this was brought home in the week of June 9th, 1980 by my mother, Carmen, and she bought People Weekly. Gorgeous at 50s, a model's tips. So I just grabbed it because it, look, I wonder if this had a subscription. She might have been subscribed at this point. I don't know. It's possible she was subscribed at this point. She subscribed to lots of magazines, but whatever the situation was, whether she brought it home or whether this was a subscription issue, I don't really know for sure. It's hard to say. I don't think it was a subscription issue. This is just some sort of water damage that's my fault over the years. That this was my fault. I didn't take the best care of this one. Anyway, she brought this home and I saved it from all the other ones because it had Yoda on the cover. So I took it and put it with my magazines. But now it's not even so much the Yoda. I'm not as interested. I'm totally not. So the reason I saved this People was because it had Yoda on the cover because of Empire Strikes Back. But here we are now, all this time later, 43 years later? 43 years later, and I'm more interested in what the ads and what the other things in the magazine are than the Star Wars stuff, because the Star Wars stuff, there was just so much of it that it's all everywhere. I'm more interested in seeing how they were marketing cigarettes to women in 1980. And you look through here and it will give you an idea of what people were buying or what they were trying to get people to buy and what people was selling. The Air Force and food processors were new. Food processors were something new. Coconut amaretto. They wanted people to buy this. They wanted women to want to look like this woman. Is this a Weight Watchers ad? Prolamine. Take weight off and keep it off with Prolamine. Isn't that what killed Michael Jackson? Shout it out with Shout. Tan Care. I like to see how people used to look because typically I think people used to look better than they look now. I like the way old people used to look by comparison. I like the way old things look by comparison. If I smelled this magazine right now, if I put it up to my nose, I would tell you that I like the way this magazine smells by comparison to pretty much anything else that's new. I just like old things. Is this Anita Bryant? This is Anita Bryant. This was a beautiful woman with strong opinions and ideals. This is a woman in her underwear, happy to see a slice of carrot cake. This is one of those human interest stories about roller derby. What is this? Bronco Bully. I mean, oh shit. Did you hear that? It came out, you guys. It came out completely. So now we have a poster of Clint Eastwood, Bronco Billy, the most outrageous of them all. This poster might be a piece of screen-used memorabilia in the future when we auction off screen-used memorabilia here from the show. In addition to you getting the poster of Clint Eastwood, Bronco Billy, it's possible that you could receive this partial article about Daring Darlene. True cigarettes. You remember these? My cousin Brad used to smoke True. True had a weird plastic filter that you could see through that had some sort of Illuminati symbol on the inside. You could stick your tongue into this Illuminati symbol right here and you would be transported to an alternate universe. A perfect 48. Okay. Okay. Eerie Magazine, number 77. Color Summer Giant, Color, More Stories, Color, Eerie, number 77, from September 76. This is one of the few Eries that I own, that I purchased. Not that I don't like Eerie, I just would always pass on it and buy Creepy instead. But this is, you could see why I bought this issue. It says, Color Summer Giant, Color, More Stories, Color, eerie, and then you have an amazing side boob by Richard Corbin, and then you have a Triceratops knocking over this tree. It looks kind of like Land of the Lost, but like the best episode of Land of the Lost that you never saw. And it says that it's color, but let's see. Do we see? Where's the freaking color, you guys? Okay, here we go. So there's one. Demon of Father Pain. Well, you get the idea. It's another Warren magazine, but it has an incredible cover. They're all great. This is $1.50, but I think I got this out of a quarter bin. That's why it's all beat up and messed up like this. All sports special issue. It's a great cover. There's the shirts again, what the color advertisement of the shirts look like. I had this one, but mine had red sleeves. And I had this one that looked just like this, that was blue, just like that. It's good stuff. It's another one of my Eries. This is the El Cid issue. This whole issue is about this Spanish historical hero named El Cid. That it? It's clearly not historical. There's some sort of a big blue demon here. But I thought El Cid is some sort of a mythological figure. I don't know. They made a movie with Charlton Heston. Now, I don't know. I read this when I was a kid, and I remember really liking this. I bought this after I bought... Was it after or before? Maybe right around the same time. Right around the same time that Erie was doing this, Creepy was doing an issue that was just nothing but Edgar Allan Poe. And so all of a sudden, Creepy and Erie, you know, they looked like they're illiterate or something. Like you know, this was going to help me with my homework. This is Tease magazine. Tease magazine is a magazine, the magazine of sexy fun. This is a magazine that it's adults only. This is the first issue. This is mostly about cheesecake. It's not pornography. It's just softcore nudity. This is how I would describe it. A lot of interesting stuff in here. It's really good. The Art of Olivia. And keep in mind, see where it says the Art of Olivia? It's because this is all art, so it's completely okay. This is not, you know, this is an adult channel for grown-ups. This is a channel where we look at art and culture. This is a magazine about art and culture. This is a nude photograph of a woman from probably 100 years ago. This magazine will be filled with stuff like that. It will be filled with cool illustrations and articles about stuff like that, about artists and models and the history of everything involving these genres. And it's really good. Tease magazine number 1. Here's Tease magazine number 2. This particular painting, I think, is by a guy named Gil Elvgren. There it is, right there. See that? Elvgren. I know because I used to have this as a print, large, framed and matted in my house. And I don't know what happened to it. I might find it. I don't know. I think it's gone. I don't think it's here anymore. I can't remember. I don't know what happened to it. But anyway, I really like Gil Elvgren. And you can see why I like this magazine. If you're interested in this stuff, you can find Tease. I recommend it. Here's Tease number 3. That's a terrible cover. I mean, she's pretty, but I don't like what they did with this UPC code. Scan those lines. I mean, it says Frazetta right there. We know that's going to be good. There's Gil Elvgren again. See? So this is why I really like Gil Elvgren. So his paintings look like the calendars inside of garages and gas stations from the early 60s. See? This is true pinup art. See, 12 pinup girls, 365 days of delights. So this is the true pinup art. That's what this magazine is about. It's pinup art. You know, I forgot that this magazine has centerfolds. Centerfolds are all artistically and beautifully drawn and painted. See? Fritz Willis, camels and coffee. This is like my breakfast. This is the love of my life. This girl, and she's an artist too. Or maybe just a model, maybe both. This one has a calendar. So that's teas. This is an interesting cover. They're easy to handle when you know how. Not a fan. I like Madame Satan. I like Irish McCullough. I like Bunny Yeager. I like Lily St. Cyr. Boy, this is a great issue. There's another ad for Gil Elvgren. There's Irish McCullough. And Tarzan right there. This is nice. Isn't this nice? Isn't that beautiful? I want to live in this world right here. I want to, not only do I want to be married to this trad woman right here that will do everything to keep the house, you know, that will do what a wife was supposed to do, or what a wife did in 1956, and it will be idyllic. In this paradise, see how the picture ends here, and then the picture ends here, and the picture ends here, and the picture ends here. It will just keep going in every direction, and it will be just like this. It will be like Leave It to Beaver, but it will be in color. And it won't even just be regular color. It will be this color. This soft, cool thing like this. I think, didn't Robin Williams and Cuba Gooding Jr. make a movie kind of about this, about the afterlife, except their afterlife looked like a Monet painting? Well, my afterlife doesn't look like a Monet painting. My afterlife looks like a Gil Elvgren painting. I don't remember what the name of that movie was, but you remember it was Robin Williams and Cuba Gooding Jr., and it took place here, and Robin Williams was a pediatrician, and he died in a car crash he hit the tunnel at Treasure Island going across the Bay Bridge, and then his wife had committed suicide, and his son was dead too, and I think his son was reincarnated as Cuba Gooding Jr. or something. But anyway, it was this afterlife world, and it was all like a Monet painting. It was all very impressionistic and beautiful, and this is what mine would look like. We would be here. This is my afterlife. This is Warrior Magazine. This is that British import, again, it will be an import to me, but if you're from, Great Britain, it's not an import to you. It's the comics that you're used to. Well, these were ones that I picked up years and years ago, and I got them in, they were in dollar bins. These issues that we're going to look at came out of these dollar bins that I bought. I bought them for $1. Then I got them home, and some of them are signed by Alan Moore. I know, it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it's true. Look. So this Marvel Man right here is signed by Alan Moore. And this issue of Warrior #1 is also signed by Alan Moore. So these came from what I bought these, and probably still, was a very successful comic shop in Northern California, and my only thought of how this happened, and then all of these ones, none of these other ones are signed, is that this stuff came back from the convention and I bought these in about I bought these in 1993 or 1994 is when I bought all of these. I bought all of these for $1 each in about 1993 or 1994. So if you did the math or you looked it up or tried to figure it out, I'm just going to guess. I'm just going to say that I think one of the last times Alan Moore came to a convention in the United States was probably San Diego Comic-Con in about that time. Maybe about 1991, 1992, 1993. Maybe it wasn't the last time, but I'm betting that he was here during that time, and that's how these things were signed by him. And then somehow they ended up just getting mixed in with other stuff, and nobody even cared that they were signed, or no one even knew that they were signed, because these were all stacked up in the back of a $1 magazine bin, and I just pulled them all out and paid $1 a piece for all of them. And now it turns out that we have the first issue autographed by the Grand Wizard himself. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video about magazines again. It was a Sunday magazine, the Sunday Mag Extravaganza. Thanks for watching. Let's go like this. That. Click. Okay. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Oh no, let's go one more like this. That's better. All right, talk to you later.